So you're saying, just to be clear, you're saying that you did not type that hashtag on your Twitter. Like you did not put that there.
Never. And it was just like, where the flying fuck did this tweet come from? I didn't do this.
So after this was filmed, you remained friends with them for some time. They came to see you, right?
Both of them were on that tour and they came here in August.
So did you observe any of what's been alleged about Marilyn Manson by the women who've accused him of stuff? Did you observe anything between them that you felt uncomfortable about? Like, was there anything, any red flags about their relationship that you saw?
I never saw or heard any kind of red flag in person, on the phone. I would talk to them both on the phone because obviously they were together when he would call me in the middle of the night. But I remember one time Evan kind of grabbed the phone from Manson and she's like, Vanessa, it's Evan. And we were just laughing and she was like, so you're my girlfriend now, right? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. And I hear her saying, you hear that? She's mine. And it was just I don't know, there was never anything bad. And I remember Manson would be like, oh yeah, Evan's sleeping. So the allegations of him keeping her up all the time, I spoke to him numerous times and he'd be like, yeah, Evan's asleep. So I'm just
Oh,
calling you to
really?
talk. Yeah, I remember maybe 3, 4 times and being like, yeah, Evan's asleep right now, but I'll tell her you said hi and things like that. Like,
That's interesting because our viewers may or may not know that one of the claims that she's made, and some of the other women have made these claims, these accusers, is of extreme sleep deprivation. You know, that when they wanted to sleep, Manson would scream at them so they couldn't. So after that, you and Manson, you had a falling out sometime after this, right? Like later in your friendship, and you've taken, and we've talked in the past, and you've taken responsibility for your part of that. And just to confirm, it was nothing like horrible, or he didn't do anything to you, or anything, right? It was just kind of friends having a falling out, correct?
right, right. It was, I was kind of at the beginning stages of being an alcoholic at that point. And, after, like I said, miscarriage, end of a relationship, various other things, you start self-medicating. And I had started doing that. And, it's not a secret that Manson also has addiction issues. And it was just kind of a clashing of personalities, a clashing of life experiences.
So you were contacted several years ago, and you hadn't talked to Manson, that you'd had a falling out, you hadn't talked to him in forever or whatever.
Right.
You were contacted by whom?
Well, first, it was somebody from BuzzFeed. I got on Instagram of all places. I was like, why does this person have my social media? I got a message from somebody from BuzzFeed, a reporter. They were like, we have reason to believe you were on the set of a music video, which is involved in some very serious allegations. We are wondering if you'd like to do an interview. My first thought was like, sure, why the f not? Luckily, somebody who I love with all my heart and who's very close to me is a practicing lawyer, and I ran it by them. The first thing they said was, do not do this interview. They do not have your best interest at heart. They are looking for clickbait. They're looking for a hot story. Do not say anything to these people. Just politely decline and move on. That's what I did. And then I'd say a couple months later, I got another request to do something. I completely forgot the name of the production company, but I came to later find out that it was Amy Berg's production company. Somebody on their staff sent me another message on Instagram saying, we have reason to believe you were in this music video. There's no pressure, but we'd like to interview you and see if you'd be interested in being part of a filming concerning some things regarding this music video. And I was just, for absolutely not, was my response. I said, I'm not interested in speaking about anything that has to do with Marilyn Manson. It's not my place. I was not in this relationship. I can't talk about what happened behind closed doors. Despite the fact that I was in the music video, I had zero interest in being part of this. Me and him hadn't been friends for 13 years at that point. And so automatic decline.
Just to clarify, so you were approached first by BuzzFeed, if we want to call it news outlet or whatever, but
Right.
BuzzFeed. Now, did they mention that they had been given your information by someone?
Yes, they did. They said, we got your information from Ilma Gore.
Well, again, just to make sure people understand, Ilma Gore was Evan Rachel Wood's ex-girlfriend, alleged co-conspirator. She is the other person that is being sued by Marilyn Manson for various things, including defamation. Ilma Gore is well, self-described hacker. She's talked about that before online and joked around about hacking people. She has a background in education degrees in computer science, stuff like that. And in fact, Marilyn Manson, in his lawsuit, accuses her of hacking and trying to get into his email and send bad things to people and just all kinds of things, right? This was the person, Ilma Gore, who was pointing BuzzFeed in your direction. And so they said it was Ilma Gore. And then you were contacted by the big documentary, the big HBO documentary that presented Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore. She was also in it, Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore's allegations against Marilyn Manson. And I think it seems pretty clear that they were trying to recruit you to join their story. I mean, it doesn't make sense for Ilma Gore to give your contact information to this journalist outlet if she thinks that you're not going to support Evan Rachel Wood's story or Evan Rachel Wood's version of things. And the same thing, ditto, for the HBO documentary, because that was obviously very, very one-sided for in promoting Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore's perspective. And I just have to wonder, I just have to assume that they thought that you were a good prospect. We know that, I know that they tried to recruit numerous women, exes of Marilyn Manson's, to go after him. And some women did. And then some women, like, for instance, Greta Aurora, who's talked about this online, declined. Well, I think that they must have thought that because you had had a falling out with Manson, and that there must have been bad blood between you. I mean, it's a logical assumption, right? That there must have been bad blood between you and that you could be induced to go against him in the documentary, in a BuzzFeed article, or whatever. And so your response, you firmly rejected these overtures, right?
Yeah, I had zero interest in being part of this. I actively avoided it.
Okay, so after this, you got a third message from someone, and this actually was from Ilma Gore herself to your Instagram. Tell me how this happened.
It was. I don't check my Instagram requests very often because it can get very overwhelming with, guys trying to send pee-pee pics and other various things when you model the way that I do. So I kind of avoid it. But one day I checked and I was just like, Ilma Gore, I have a request from Ilma Gore. Why do I know this name? And I looked at the message and it said something along the lines of, hey, we'd like your lawyer's information so we can potentially speak to you. I didn't accept it. It's still actually sitting in my requests on Instagram.
We'd like your lawyers. So wait, there wasn't any like hi or hello or like you may not know who I am, because at that point I understand that BuzzFeed had told you that an Ilma Gore recommended they speak with you, but you had not, like, you had no relationship or association with Ilma and no like prior history with her. And it's crazy, this message. And I mean, I've seen it, and I guess we'll put it up, this message, and there's no like, hi, I am, or sort of lead up. It's just like, give me your lawyer's information so they can contact you. I mean, what a bizarre message. And again, given the fact now that that it's come out that Evan and Ilma were trying to recruit women to go after Marilyn Manson, and recruit women in some cases to join, lawsuits and to pursue him legally. Like, to me, it seems like they were, again, they were trying a third time to recruit you. And it's interesting how they use these different mechanisms or these different approaches. Now, there's one more aspect to this. And I said there was a part of this thing that's kind of Twilight Zone-ish. And all that I meant was there was something really kind of strange that happened with you and with your Twitter. Yeah. Again, you rebuffed all three attempts, rebuffed or ignored all three attempts that these people made to recruit you. Well, it's interesting because when your friend Rachel first approached me and said, oh, I have this mutual friend and I've been talking to her, and she was on the set of Heart-Shaped Glasses, and she says that, that Evan Rachel Wood's version of this is not accurate, and that she was approached by people and, and so forth to join in this effort, but she didn't. Anyway, when Rachel approached me with your story, I was looking around on your social media and, trying to figure out who you were and all of that. Right. And I was looking at your social media and I was scrolling down your social media, And I didn't actually on your Twitter, and I actually didn't, there wasn't very much actually on your Twitter. There was some random things here and there and whatever. But on your Twitter, it seemingly you had posted, "I stand with Evan," or "I stand with Evan Rachel Wood." So when I saw this, you know, Rachel had just told me the story that you were telling her, and it sounded very compelling. And Rachel assured me that you were very credible and that you know, had been telling the same story, you know, forever and had been reluctant to even come forward, but that you were bothered by the situation. But when she told me all this, I was thinking, "This is great." But when I actually looked you up, I'm thinking, oh God, I stand with Evan Rachel Wood. So so basically what's going on here is we have like basically another attention starved person who is just trying to get attention here, when in fact, she clearly supported Evan Rachel Wood when Evan Rachel Wood came out with her allegations. And so I was trying to put it together in my mind. I was thinking, how on the one hand is it that she vocally came out on Twitter supporting Evan Rachel Wood with this "I stand with Evan" hashtag. And then at the same time, I knew, because Rachel had shared it with me and she had shown the screenshots, I knew that you had turned these people down when they were trying to recruit you.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, so she supports Evan, but then, you know, like what, a month or two later or whatever, she's rebuffing all of these attempts for these people to help Evan or and so it didn't make any sense. And so Rachel showed you, I took a screenshot of your Twitter and I said basically to Rachel, I said, well, what the fuck is this? You know, why does it say "I stand with Evan" if she's not validating what Evan is saying? And she told me that you denied that you had done that. So you're saying, just to be clear, you're saying that you did not type that hashtag on your Twitter. Like you did not put that there.
Never. I very, very, very rarely even used Twitter in the first place. Like, why would I go on there? Like, if I was going to say something like that, I would have made, you know, a post on Instagram or on my Facebook. Well, not my Facebook because that's private, but I would have made a bigger deal about it than posting it on something that I use like once every 6 months. And I would never have done that in the first place because I didn't have a stance on that situation. And it was just like, where the flying fuck did this tweet come from? I didn't do this. And there was other various things on there where I was like, this is, who's doing this? This is not me. Why is this on my Twitter? So, I mean, obviously something was happening there.
You yourself are not making allegations about who might have put that on your Twitter. You know, as far as you know, you just don't know how that got there, right? But I want to remind people that Ilma Gore is a self-professed hacker, someone who, again, has been sued for all kinds of computer crimes and problematic activities related to this case and this situation. And you can go look at Marilyn Manson's lawsuit. You can see he has multiple allegations of computer crimes and hacking into accounts and so forth, right? And so, you know, it is just, it might seem Twilight Zone-ish to people or weird to people, or people can laugh or make fun of me for saying that I think that Ilma Gore hacked you and put that in there to kind of sabotage you because they weren't sure what side of the fence you'd come down on. And also, it has become clear that these women, particularly Evan Rachel Wood, Ilma Gore, and this hoax against Manson, social media was a big part of their plan. And that's why you had all of these women on the same day coming out with these Instagram statements that were ghostwritten. Right. We found out that they wrote these statements together. Some of them didn't even write their statements. They were written for them. This huge media push, this coordinated campaign, and social media was a big part of that. I think that she, you know, it's not hard to hack someone's Twitter. I think that she put that there. They put that there to try to neutralize whatever effect you might have if you came out to tell the truth, or to discourage you from telling the truth. Because why would you want to come out and tell the truth and look like an idiot when "I stand with Evan" is on your Twitter?
Yeah, exactly. Like it just seemed like, I'm not saying I don't know who did it. I don't know what happened. You know, I'm not a technologically advanced, knowledgeable person or anything like that, but it's just very sketchy to me. And I'm not sure how any of it came about in the first place. It just seemed kind of like a ploy to discredit, should I actually come out on the side of Manson and company. And it just, I don't know, the whole thing's very fishy to me.
It is. And what I want to remind people about in terms of your credibility is that we may not be able to prove that that you didn't type that in your Twitter, although I believe that you didn't. And there are certain aspects of the story that we may not be able to prove. But what we have been able to prove is that, I think, just using the photos that we've looked at, is that what she has represented, what Evan Rachel Wood is represented as having happened on the set of that music video was not true. And you're giving a very cogent and consistent and very credible account of what really did happen, and also what their relationship was like and what Manson was like.